Now at 12:41 here in the Grand City, you're listening to the News at Noon show. We got another candidate forum, and I'm joined by the two men who are going to put their hands to the test for the mayor seat in St. Augusta, Mike Zenzen and Andy Elwood. Again, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me on the second half of the show. Appreciate it.
Hey, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
All right, now we want to get into the issues, the goals, the hopes, the dreams that you guys want to have, what your campaign's all about if you are elected. So, Andy, why don't you go ahead and start and tell me a little bit about some of the things you have if you are elected as mayor. What are some of the actions you want to take?
Okay, one of the big issues is being working for the city of St. Cloud for so many years. I've gotten to know so many people throughout the state, and we actually work with other departments. So we borrow equipment. We, if we need a fire hydrant or we need a part or this and that, or we need to use their equipment, we've gotten really good at that. So we saved a lot of money. I could have saved $900 last week in 5 minutes, just for one simple thing. And I won't get into that whole thing, but anyways, I got to know so many people through that because every year they would send us to different schools. All of us would go through different schools around through Minnesota, and we'd get to know these people, and we would share with them and be able to, borrow their equipment, or they would borrow it from us, or we could, if somebody busted off a fire hydrant, we can borrow a replacement from them and then order a new one, have it shipped directly to them. So I've gotten to know a lot of cities out there and a lot of the sales reps that'll directly ship right to them, and that makes it a lot cheaper. And one of the things that I'm really concerned about, besides that, is there's only 4 employees, so it's not that big of a deal. But what I seen working for the city of St. Cloud, which was I know some guys aren't going to like me, but I've seen a lot of guys just spending way too much time doing nothing. And I had my own business for 30-some years, and I do not go for that at all. I expect them, whatever they're getting paid for, I expect them to put in 8 hours for 8 hours of wages.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of that coming down there, and I do not like that. And I know Bill's not going to like it, but it's only a fact. I went down there, I've seen it myself, and I don't care for that. So they just need some help. Bill is really good at what he does. He's an administrator, and let him do his job. I'll let him do his job, and I'll delegate to what rest. So between that, the more that I can work with these other cities, and every dime that I can save is less tax dollars. And my goal is to get taxes down as low as possible, because right now, we have an administrator that's comparing taxes to Sartell, which is not a fair assumption. And I do plan on working really hard at that. I do plan on putting my nose out there, and I do plan on being available directly. They can call me, and I can take the heat. I can tell them. I want people to tell me what they think. I want them to come to the city council meetings. I'm going to have a box there. If they don't want to, tell me their name, put their box in there. Put me a note in there. Tell me what you want. I want to know what these people want, because we don't know. None of us can know for sure exactly what everybody wants. But if we give them a chance to do that, we can make things happen.
Okay. That's great. Now, Mike, you've been on the council. You said you want to see some of the projects continue moving forward. I'm sure that's one of your goals if you are elected as mayor. Can you tell me anything else? Elaborate on that a little bit more?
Well, just to elaborate on that, we are the lowest per capita spending of any city in that group of between 2,500 and 5,000 on the population. I don't know what he's talking about, seeing people there not working. We have 4 employees. One guy for the street department, one for sewer and water, and our city administrator and we have Teresa, who is the treasurer, and she is part-time. So we have 3.5 employees taking care of all the roads and everything in our city. There's no time to be doing nothing. And that is one thing. They might not get done in the order we want sometimes, but they still get done. Mm-hmm. In the wintertime, we do have another person that's hired to help with plowing in the wintertime on a part-time seasonal basis. We do have 2 park employees also that are part-time seasonal, considered part-time seasonal. Some of the things I want to see is I want to see us maintain our schedules on repairing, refurbishing roads, and seal coating. We have a set amount of money every year that we put towards seal coat because it extends the roads of our life. We can double the life of a road by continuing these programs. Another thing, we have parks that have to be maintained, and we do get a lot of comments about how nice our parks look.
Wonderful.
From a lot of people that that live in the city of St. Cloud.
Wow.
So, I mean, Andy keeps talking about St. Cloud. I talk about St. Augusta, what we have, not what St. Cloud has. I know what St. Cloud has. That's why we live. That's why we live in St. Augusta. The people out there.
I learned from St. Augusta mistakes that you don't make that are coming up as I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't want to get them too convinced.
But
I do have that experience, which there's a big difference. I can tell you how many fire hydrants are, what kind they are. I can tell you how long it takes to change them, and I don't think your guy can do that.
I think our guy can do it.
Well, they probably could.
He does. He does a great job. He makes sure we're on a maintenance schedule on our lift pumps. When it comes to jetting our system, we borrow the equipment and stuff and people from another city in the area for the jetting.
Okay.
So we already do those things.
You don't borrow
we
it,
do. We do a lot of things out there.
I mean, you don't borrow it. You pay for it, $900.
We pay for it, but you're going to pay for it when you have another city's
equipment
and people.
Well, one thing I'm kind of curious on, I know you guys have a fire department in St. Augusta. Is there any looking into the future of maybe adding a police department there, or you guys just continue to contract out?
I don't think there would be, right? I mean, he's on the city council. To me, I don't think it would be, right now it's not, but I mean, with all the, we were just talking earlier, we do get along, and we were talking about, we see the drugs and stuff coming around, and so it might have to be something we have to worry about, I had the incidents happen at my house. I was in a bad car accident, and I don't want to get too far off on that, but it took about a half hour for the sheriff to get there, and 2 guys would have robbed me. I couldn't get out of my wheelchair. Mm-hmm. So it does scare me. But I also, what I would really like to do, which I forgot, is implement a program. A neighbor watch program where you hook up with a neighbor, and it's just a thought. And I want to put in a box and say, listen, here's a guy. You guys, if you go somewhere for the weekend, here's a guy that you can call. You guys hook up with him, so you know that person is gone. Most of us that live out in the country, me and Mike both, we've been there. We know that there's always somebody, you have somebody to watch. We have a lot of new people come out there from the city that are coming out there. They don't realize that. Right. You need your neighbors because they have to watch out for you. Mm-hmm. It only takes 5 minutes to get in and out of a house. So,
right.
But as far as your answer goes, I think I answered that good enough. We don't need one right now. I mean, sure, it'd be nice, but there's not that kind of money.
Right.
And we need other equipment for the fire department that these guys are working on already. Mm-hmm. So,
Mike, what's your thoughts on that?
Okay, for a police department, right now it's just not feasible. I mean, when it's going to cost you at least $100,000 just to have one officer, and then you have to maintain a vehicle and all this training and everything else, and total expenses on an officer are well over $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
So we only have about 1,100 taxpayers. So you can work that out on what that would do to their taxes at a time. We get up to a population of 7,000 or 8,000 people, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have more tax base to be able to afford it. But until we get to those numbers, it's just doesn't work. And the sheriff's department, with the contract that we have with them, it works out very well.
Okay.
And we also use Stearns County for prosecution, and the numbers that we have from them are a lot cheaper than we can hire an attorney to sit around and wait to get on the docket and stuff at the courthouse.
All right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here real quick, but before I let you go, I wanted to ask you guys one last question. If elected, the biggest thing that you would like to bring to St. Augusta, just it could be beautification, things like that. Mike, we'll start with you, and Andy will end with you.
Oh, okay. There's so many things. The biggest thing is we have to kind of keep an eye on development. That'll be coming. We know that it will be coming in the future, and it's just how we handle it. If we keep more of a condensed housing, encourage things to be more in the sewer and water district, or if you just let people build on 10 acres all over the place, that sometime in the future, if city and sewer and water have to go by, and how do you actually get those people to pay an assessment on that much? So the future, the planning for the future and implementing it, that's the biggest thing.
Okay. And then Andy, we'll wrap up with you.
That's what I have experience with is Sartell, Sauk Rapids. They jump into our system, City of St. Cloud system, I call it. I'm not in the city. I'm in the St. Augusta. But that's one of the things that they did, so I can handle that part. I'm not worried about that part. But I do want to see taxes. I want to really try to keep taxes as low as possible. But me and Mike, we do agree on a lot of things together, and we do need some things for the fire department. They do need some equipment. We know that, and it's hard to find firemen. It's getting really hard to get volunteer firemen. Mm-hmm. So we are working on with that. The thing that I could bring more is my experience working with the other cities and trying to get that cost down to the minimum. Then we can use that money towards other things, that would bring more value to us.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I'm out of time. Thank you very much for joining me today. I appreciate it.